What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Vulkan, and today we are talking Greedfall. Greedfall is an action RPG from Spiders, the makers of Technomancer, which did score lackluster reviews, but this game specifically, Greedfall, is looking to be something a little bit different. Now, Greedfall comes out September 10th for $50. This video is going to be covering usually the most important thing. What do we care about most when it comes to an RPG, action RPG? And that is gear and skills. It is character growth, development, doing things with your character through weaponry, things like that. So we're going to do a quick breakdown of all of this, starting with character growth. So as you level up in Greedfall, you're going around, you're exploring, you have your custom-made, male or female issued human that is perfectly diseased, and they're exploring Greedfall, having a good time. As your character levels up, they're going to gain skill points. Now, you can also find skill points at skill altars that are hidden throughout the world, which in turn give you 1 skill point. These skill points are spent on the skill tree, naturally. Now, the skill tree is divided into 3 quadrants. The warrior, which is a melee-focused combat area for 2-handed blades, 1-handed blades, and it increases your physical resistance as well. Then there's a technical quadrant. This is for controlling the battlefield, right? Using traps, poisons, grenades, trickery overall, and if you're wanting to be a trapper with a rifle, something like that, then technical is the way to go. You can also use firearms here. Magic, naturally, is for offensive spell work, and this includes freezing enemies in time using an ability called stasis. Now, as you go through and you're applying these skill points, there are little miniature nodes that'll reduce things like your mana cost, or maybe give you an additional charge for your trap, things like that are in between major nodes that give you something big. Now, don't worry about being stuck with wherever you put these. You can withdraw these, reset your whole system, reset the skill system, all that stuff, using something called a memory crystal. Now, we don't know how you particularly get memory crystals, whether just something you could buy, whether you only find a certain amount of them, how rare are they, how common are they, we don't know, but it is in the game something that you can use to reset. Now, you also gain 2 other things. You gain attributes, which are used to improve your character's combat effectiveness, thus boosting whatever build you've put together through your skill tree, your gear, all of that stuff. These are as you would imagine it: strength, intelligence, things like that. It's your typical RPG stuff here. They said they didn't sway too much from this, and I would say, yeah, keep it. I mean, it's something that is internationally recognized, right? I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second, but look at another game that tried something different and failed. As much as I loved WildStar, I know it's an MMORPG, it's a poor kind of thing, but at the same time, they changed things up. They had different types of talents for different things. They had Moxie, for instance, which increased your critical strike chance. Instead of just calling it critical strike chance, they called it Moxie. As cool as that was, it wasn't internationally recognized. People didn't know what it did. They thought it was weird, and ultimately the developers had to change all of those differently named stats and change them back into your regular strength, toughness, stamina, things like that. So that's attributes. Lastly, you gain talents, which are used to improve your character's skills outside of combat. Now, they haven't gone much into these. We don't really know too much about what exactly talents we're going to be looking at, but I imagine these are going to be things like reducing crafting materials needed, maybe improving fast travel time, improving your understanding of the natural language, which, by the way, the developers created their own specific language for the locals, the natives of the land tier F or D, which is amazing. So they went through a language expert and everything. Really cool side note. But anyway, things like that improve your overall, I'll say, life skills type of thing. So that all goes into your character growth. As you level up, you're going to get points to apply to all of those, and your character's going to become more effective. Now, the peanut butter to this jelly is going to be your gear. And the way gear is done in Greedfall, you can accomplish this in a few different ways. You will gain gear through your adventures from all styles of enemies, whether it's bosses, commons, mediums, enemies, elites, things like that. You have chests, your typical loot drops. So there's nothing really out of the ordinary here. Loot is going to drop from things that you slay or find. But the thing that really separates Greedfall from your average action RPG that I really like, I know I haven't got my hands on it, but I really like what they've shown off so far, and that is their crafting or upgrade improvement system, however you want to really approach this. You're going to be able to change the appearance and stats of gear through this menu. It allows you to change random slots on the gear itself, which also changes the affixes. So for instance, you have a chest piece of gear. It has 3 slots. It has a sash that goes across the middle. Remember, this is 1700s, right? It's the old-timey times. So you have a sash that goes across the middle, you have shoulders, and you have like a badge that hangs off of your coat. You can adjust all of these. You can swap the badge, you can swap the shoulder pieces, you can swap the sash, and while the base item is going to look relatively the same, you can add additional things to it while also adding additional affixes to suit your play style. Now, within the game, right, you're also going to stumble upon things called chest keys. These are usually on dead bodies. They're around bosses, elites. They might be hidden off a beaten path, but these can be used to find a chest within a zone. Now, here's the thing, guys. You have to actually figure all this stuff out yourself. You can't just pick up a chest key and it says, over there, beyond the mountains, over the river, and then in a cave up north, you're going to find this chest. No. You have to look at the dead body. Okay, this guy was part of this particular faction. He died here. Looking at him, he looks like he was a farmer, like a farmhand. So is there a farm around here? Yes, I ran past a farm about a mile, we'll say, just for on the map, whatever, to the west. So you head that direction, you find a chest in an old farmhouse, you get the gear. Stuff like that, which once again adds to the immersion and the legitimacy of the world, but it gives you an alternative method for gathering gear. It's not just, I killed this boss, it drops gear, I pick up gear, I continue, which I think is pretty great. Now, when it comes to equipping gear, there appears to be 9 gear slots that you can customize, equip, really utilize here. And that is a divine ring for magic spells, a melee slot for whatever melee weapon you choose, a ranged slot for firearms, a headpiece, neck piece, cape, chest, gloves, and feet, which to me seems like a very substantial kind of build for your character, right? This isn't a 3-piece that you find in some games. This isn't a, 1 gear set type of scenario. These are all things that you can adjust greatly and then mix and match using your character to try to figure out what build you want, what playstyle you're going for. So I think that they actually hit on the head, and I'm really curious to see how this is all going to play together, but I'm glad they gave us a decent number of slots to mess with. So guys, that really kind of encapsulates, from a high overview, gearing and skilling in Greedfall. These, in my opinion, this is what I always look for in an action RPG. What am I going to use to kill things, and how am I going to grow my character? After this video, I'm going to start going into the world, the enemies. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the world of Tier 50. I'm going to talk about bosses and mini-bosses and kind of how all that stuff plays together, as well as a brief touch on combat. And then the video after that will most likely be going into combat, a little bit deeper dive into Greedfall, and before long, guys, we're going to be ready for the September 10th launch, which, by the way, I will be doing a stream that day, so keep in touch. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll usually be posting out there. Typically, I'll post on YouTube as well, so look out for those posts. And if you guys haven't already, join the Discord in the description below, and you can keep up with all sorts of stuff that's going on with Vulkan Gaming. But I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. So as always, thank you guys. Let's get a conversation rolling in the comments section below. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.